Strap in for the world's fastest half hour. You're on the Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. And brought to you by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Herbert and Ralph Sheheen.
St. Louis is the gateway to the West. It's also the gateway to championships in the NHRA. We'll talk to the winners from Pro Stock and Pro Stock Motorcycle. And we'll blow the body off as we trip the wind light like Robert Height. Right here on MRN Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Sheheen alongside Doug Herbert as we kick off another episode here of MRN Straight Line. And glad to have you with us as we get ready to tackle the racetrack here at Gateway this past weekend. What were your thoughts as we crowned
Strap in for the world's fastest half
we were
hour.
over there. I was actually competing this last week. We had race classes, so I'm sure the weather was similar. I mean, it was nice weather, 75 to 80 degrees, clear skies. So they had good racing weather, and it looks like from the times throughout the weekend, they had some fast times too. So, good racing conditions. The fast cars, number one qualifier in top field, raced the number two qualifier in the final round. That's the way that it's supposed to go. Matt Smith, we're going to talk to him shortly. He seemed to have, about the best bike last weekend. We talked about that at Reading, and then he got to the final and won this race this weekend on a hole shot. So, what a deal. Yeah, I think the great racing over there at St. Louis, and looking forward to these last four races coming up.
Yeah, no, we're going to get into the Robert Height deal a little bit later on in the show, but I want to touch on it now just because obviously it's the big story of the weekend, and we're glad to report Robert is okay. What did you think about what took place with Robert?
Wow, well, the explosion, the concussion from those explosions in the cars now are tremendous. There's, 100 gallons per minute, basically a couple gallons a second of fuel, nitromethane, going into these engines, and when they blow up big. The concussion from that had to be traumatic. I'm guessing that was probably what his injury was from, a concussion. It rang his bell, similar to being next to a grenade when it goes off or something. What I've seen before, and I've had happen to me before, when you get a big explosion like that, it'll blow your visor off on your helmet, and that would obviously burn your eyelashes, your eyebrows. That could be a problem. So I'm curious what his injuries were. I'm guessing it might have been a slight burn maybe around his eyes. I know they've maybe changed the helmets a little bit, but that would be a concern for me. And I think the biggest part of his injury would probably be from the concussion or, small fire injury.
What do we as a sport learn from this going forward? As we've got a few more weeks here, these crew chiefs are going to be really twisting these things tight, chasing this championship.
Well, the problem is, and when we'll show the video for any of our listeners that watch that on the NHRA broadcast, the body came off and actually went into the spectator area. That's a problem. So obviously the NHRA can't have that happen. None of the racing teams can have that happen because that's something that could be catastrophic to the sport, really. So I think what they're going to have to work on next is how are they going to tether those bodies to keep them from flying so far.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point because really, how would you do that? Because when that thing blows, it can blow just about anywhere and blow any piece of that body apart, right?
Well, exactly. Now, recently, maybe the last 15 years or so, they've had those big burst panels that pop out of the front of the car. But when the explosion is so big that it can't be contained, just through that burst panel, that becomes a whole nother issue. And really, you want the body to get off because there's the fire and everything else you need to get put out and not just hold it underneath the body. So there is some issues there, but
challenging issues because on the one hand we're talking about how do we protect the fan, on the other hand we got to think about the driver. Right? It's no different than when you talk about like an Indy car crash, and yeah, you want pieces to disperse because it's taking energy away from the driver, but we're going to tether the wheel because we don't want that to go in the grandstand. Right. Those are easier. I don't want to say, well, maybe not easier, but those are different issues than what we have going on here.
Well, yeah, the main thing is you need to keep that body from going into a spectator area. That would probably be, I would guess that's the NHRA's number one thing, and also the race team's number one concern. But you want to get the body off the car so that the driver's safe, exactly like what you're saying. So there's a problem there, but somehow they need to keep the bodies or other parts from flying into the stands. And generally when the bodies blow off down at the end of the track, they'll go up in the air a little bit and they'll come down. no big deal. But this time the body took a turn, and I don't know, how do you save that? You put a separate parachute on the body. Do you tie them to? You don't want to get them tangled up in the parachutes on the race car, because then the race car doesn't slow down. So you got to be careful how you do that. But I think there's something that needs to be done, and I'm pretty sure that somebody at the NHRA Tech Department is already checking that out. Or usually what they'll do is they'll ask the crew chiefs, hey, what do you think we should do? Because, honestly, the crew chiefs know more about all the technical aspects on the cars than somebody at NHRA probably does.
Yeah, well, racers tend to be reactive, and they tend to figure out how to solve a problem once they know what the problem is. We've got one. Hopefully they'll work on it. We'll have more on this coming up. Stay with us. We got more MRN Straight Line coming your way.
Now's the time to prepare for winter driving with Peak Long Life Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant on sale for $8.99 a gallon after $6 mail-in rebate at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get maximum freeze protection for your car's engine with Peak Long Life Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com, that's blue like the color blue. BlueChew.com brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know that they work. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they're chewable, they can work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package, so no in-person doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when using our special promo code RACING. Just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUEChew.com, promo code RACING to try it free. Blue Chew, it's the better, cheaper, faster choice.
You're logged into the Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's Doug and Ralph.
Welcome back to MRN Straight Line. Ralph, Sheheen, Doug Herbert with you here on our show, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Glad to have you back here with us. And we have our first guest joining us on the line, Tanner Gray, who took the win light this past weekend at Gateway. Tanner, great to have you with us.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey man, good, Tanner. Tell us a little bit about the weekend. I'll tell you what, you've been knocking them out here, going into the countdown, leading the points and winning the race. What have you guys done to prepare to get to this point and going for the next few races?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've definitely been doing really good, but mainly we just through the whole regular season just tried to get ready for these last 6 races. Last year we were fast going into the countdown, but I don't really feel like we went in too prepared. So this year that was the main focus, was just making sure we had everything in line when it came time to race for a championship, and I feel like we've done a good job of that so far. So all the guys back at the engine shop are making good power, and we just got to keep making consistent runs and try to keep things straight and fast.
Tanner, dialing in the race car is one thing. How about dialing in the driver? What have you been doing this year to prepare yourself for the run for a title?
Not a whole lot different than what I did last year. I think this year, I just kind of have a little bit of experience under my belt compared to what I had last year, obviously with it being my rookie year. So I knew what to expect coming into this year more so than last year. So I think that's kind of played to my favor a lot, just understanding the pressure that comes along going into the countdown. And, I feel like I've done a better job of handling it this year. So, a lot of drag racing is just being, right mentally. So, I feel like I've definitely done a better job with that this year.
Tanner, your 6th win of the year, going into the final with lane choice over Drew Skillman, and then having a 004 light, like that's a super gas light, and then you nail it out there in the Pro Stock car, and you've been doing that a few times. What did you do to get prepared for that, or you just get yourself up and put yourself in the situation in the zone?
Yeah, no, like I said, you just got to go up there and be focused and be mentally prepared, I guess you could say. And I really should have been like high double O to low teen all day. I felt like I was kind of missing the tree all day with being, high teen. So that's about right where I should have been with where I had my clutch pedal set up. And, so I knew that if I went up there and hit the tree like I was supposed to, that's really where I should have been at.
As a young driver, obviously you come from a racing family, so you have a lot of people you can talk to there to get information, inspiration, all that type of stuff from. But is there anywhere else you turn, anybody else you maybe follow or have looked up to that has helped prepare you to become a champion?
I try to keep my circle somewhat small. So I've kind of just turned to my family, a lot of it being my dad, more than anything. And then, obviously I have one of the best pro stock drivers to ever come to the sport as my crew chief. So he's done an awesome job of helping me. And then, Kevin Finney is our general manager there at the shop. So, he's been able to help me out. And all those guys have really just been there for me whenever I needed them or whatever they felt like they could help. So that's been the biggest difference for me compared to, where I feel someone else might not have that advantage coming into a sport that's, it's just brutally tough out there, and you have to have a lot of good people around you, and I think that's, what's helped me excel so much faster than maybe some other people.
Well, Tanny, your family's obviously made a big commitment to the NHRA racing over for a long time, but racing against your father and your grandfather, or with your grandfather in fuel racing. But what is when are they planning on coming out racing again? It was pretty cool last year. I think it was at Indy, and you had you and your father and your grandfather out there racing. Any plans to bring those cars out again?
No, I don't think so. I think that was kind of a one-time deal. Obviously it'd be really cool to be able to race with them again, but neither of them really have much desire to race much anymore. So I don't think that we'll see that happening. Especially with it being right in the middle of the countdown, they don't really want to come out and throw any distractions in what we got going. So it's mainly just going to be trying to stay doing what we're doing and try to keep the distractions to a minimum.
Being a part of a famous racing family can be great in many ways. It can also be a burden in some. What's been the positive and maybe the challenge? I don't want to say negative, but at least a challenge for you coming from a well-known racing family.
Yeah, I guess, some of the challenges would be just having a little bit higher standards to live up to. And, but, that's also been, something that's been fun for me just because I enjoy I guess high pressure situations like that, or maybe having something to prove. But I've definitely had a lot more benefits than challenges or negatives, whatever you want to call it. With having them, they're right at my fingertips to have to help me and teach me. And not only did I have my dad, my grandpa, but like I said, I had Dave Conley, right there to help me. So, they definitely are the reason that I've been able to win as much as we have. And like I said, they just made it a lot easier for me coming in, and I think it was almost better. I hadn't had much drag racing experience really at all coming into it. So, they were able to kind of teach me and groom me into exactly what they wanted me to be. And I think it's definitely paid off.
Hey, Tanner, some of drag racing obviously is rivalries coming up, and with 11 wins, in your short career so far, is pretty good win records. How about any rivalries that have developed? We saw some couple things last year. How has that developed? You go up to the starting line and there's a little bit of an extra drive for one driver or one team or the other?
Obviously, I think the fans play out the deal with me and Erica more than it really is. But, when I go up there, I just try to focus on what I'm doing. I really try to worry about who's in the other lane. And I just try to have fun with it. Just trying to enjoy the opportunity and just make the most out of what we got. But, like I said, I just go up there and try to hit the tree the best I can. whatever happens, happens, and however it plays out, I guess that's what it was meant to be and whatnot. But as far as rivalries go, I think the fans try to play out me and Erica a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I think we both have a mutual respect for each other. And,
Tanner, we got time for one more question here. You got a 52-point lead and a weekend off now. How do you size up for us the remaining races as you chase down this championship?
I mean, it's just going to come down to being consistent. Just try to minimize the mistakes and make sure you're going rounds. And, it'd be nice to add a couple more wins in there, but if you're not going to, you just need to make sure you're getting into those later rounds and hope everybody else goes out early.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the weekend off, and best of luck as you run through these final events. Tanner Gray joining us, the winner from Gateway. And we're going to be right back with more after this.
Things happen fast in racing, and if you don't know where to look, you can miss it all. With Legend from Racing Electronics, you'll never miss another moment. Legend gives you live fan vision video, in-car cameras, and stats at premier National Series events, and the next generation race scanner for unfiltered driver and crew audio at any motorsports event nationwide. Race fans have never been closer to the action. Welcome to the future of the fan experience. Learn more by visiting racingelectronics.com.
O'Reilly.
A dead battery can leave you stranded, so get yours tested for free during Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Need a replacement? Purchase a Superstart Extreme or Superstart Platinum battery and get up to $25 in O'Reilly gift cards after a mail-in rebate. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength. You're staged for another run on the straight line. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Once again, here's Doug and Ralph.
Welcome back to the straight line. We just got done chatting with Tanner Gray, the winner in Pro Stock and the points leader there in that category. Now we're going to turn our attention to Matt Smith, who took the honors in the two-wheel pro category, Pro Stock motorcycle at Gateway, and is also the points leader there. Now, Matt, that is the tightest of the four pro categories right now as far as the championship goes. So this was a huge win for you this weekend.
Yeah, this was a big win for me and my team. We started the playoffs in sixth, and we've gone to two final rounds, and we finally picked the win up.
Well, Matt, second win of the year comes at a really good time, and you've got that momentum that you need going into these last four races. Tell us a little bit about it. You're familiar with it. You won the championship just a couple years ago now, and obviously you got somebody that's pretty close to home that knows something about winning championships too.
Yeah, if you look at our schedule, it's kind of funny. We just looked at this. I won in 2007, then I won in 2013. And this is 18, so it's every 5 years, it seems like. So it's perfect timing. It's maybe everything's lining up for us to do it again.
Well, what is it about that every 5 years? What are you doing wrong 4 years in between?
I don't know. I mean, we were running good and we're in contention, but sometimes we just can't get it done. And but this year we have a fast bike. We like you said, we won a race. Earlier the year we won the shootout at Sonoma, the money race. And started at Brainerd with a brand new bike and was number one qualifier for 3 races in a row. So we have a fast bike. We just got to have, a little luck go our way, and I do my job and have no part failures, and we should be pretty good.
Matt, speaking of luck, the final round at Reading, it looked like you had the bike to beat there, and something happened in the final. Tell us a little bit about that and what you did to fix it going forward over to St. Louis.
Yeah, we had the quickest and fastest bike, at Reading, and in the finals against Junior, the fuel line broke a little $18 fitting on the fuel line going to the rear injector in fourth gear. So, I just immediately shut it off. I felt something funny, and I knew whatever was going on, it wasn't going to last for the next 2 gears, and I just pulled the clutch in. saved the motor, nothing hurt. We went to St. Louis and we ran good there and ended up winning the race. So, we just fixed the $18 part.
Well, speaking of the motor, I know you had some issues with that over the weekend, and you guys really had to work hard to get that machine ready to go. Take us through that. What happened and the process of getting the bike ready to go racing?
Yeah, we had a roller bearing break on the crank. Or the new S&S motors, we call it a Gen 2 motor, that originally we built it for Victory. It has 3 roller bearings on the crankshaft, and the rods are Babbitt bearings, just like regular car stuff. So one of the roller bearings broke the cage on it, and the whole outside cage, and it split in Q2. And so we swapped motors and put another motor in for Saturday. And in the meantime, I didn't feel like we ran as quick as we should have. Even though we went 199.61 in Q3, I'm like, it's just not running like it should. So me and Angie stayed up all night, built my good motor back, tore it apart, put a new bearing in, put it back together. And it was down about 3 or 4 inches of vacuum from where it should be all day Sunday. But we got the win and, turned on 4 wind lights.
Well, whatever you did late Saturday night, sounds like you and Angie got that figured out. That's really good. Tell us about your dad. I know you got your Pro Mod license here not too awful long ago. There any plans to put another 2 wheels underneath you, or you like what you're doing?
No, I would love to drive the Pro Mod car. More. I only get to drive it every now and then. I don't think my dad's ready to quit, nor does he have the money to just put me in one. I think if he was really rich, he'd probably just put me in one, and that's probably what I'd be doing. But my partner Mark Stockseth, that's with me in the motorcycle stuff, I'm gonna let this cat out of the bag a little bit. He's wanting me to go pro stock car racing some next year, so you'll probably see me in a elite pro stock car at the races I don't run the motorcycle at next year.
Wow, so that's a scoop right here, huh?
That's what the goal is.
Wow.
We're not 100% finalized, but we're like 90% finalized on doing that.
Wow, well that's pretty big news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to talk to you a little bit more about that. And obviously, a lot of the listeners of the show know from having you on the show and having your dad on the show. How's your dad doing? Seems like he's doing pretty good in the Pro Mod, and I've been friends with him for a long time, and he's always been my good buddy.
Yeah, he's currently second in the Pro Mod points. Him and his team, him and Belushi, they've ran really good this year. They've won 4 races this year. It's just that he has had bad luck the last 2 races, gone that first round. So he's kind of lost the points lead, but he's only 2 rounds out. So there's still 3 races to go, and I know he's testing Friday, and he's testing next Tuesday and Wednesday before Dallas. So if he gets his stuff right, hopefully he can contend, and, maybe we can do like we did in 13 and both of us win the championship together.
Well, that would be pretty awesome, and thanks, thanks to you and to him for being friends of mine, and also for being brake supporters and coming to the classes with your kids and just doing things to support brakes and what you've been doing over the last 10 years. Anyways, I sure appreciate that too, man.
Yeah, we've known you a long time, Doug, and I know we lost our good buddy Larry Tutterow a year or 2 ago, and but the brakes thing is really, really awesome deal, and you're doing a great job for all these kids, to learn what not to do out there in the driving world. So really appreciate everything you're doing for them.
It is a fantastic program. In fact, my daughter's going to be going through it here sooner than later.
Right.
One final question for you, Matt, as we get ready to say goodbye and get you ready for Texas, which is coming up, and you'll be headed there as a points leader with those really cool red leathers, man. It looks like you got some like metal flake in the leather.
SMR Paintworks painted the bike, and he asked me, he said, what do you want done? I said, I just want candy apple red in the bike. I said, do whatever you want. And the bike just stands out with the sparkly flakes in it, and the leather's just, everything just matches really, really good. And he did a great job on that motorcycle, and it looks great on TV, and dag, it's fast too.
Hey, you know where it looks best, right? In Victory Lane.
You're exactly right.
Well, congratulations on the big win this past weekend in Gateway. Enjoy a weekend off, and we'll see that shiny candy apple red machine and your bright red leathers maybe in Victory Lane again next at Texas, okay?
All right. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me on, and I appreciate it.
Okay, buddy. Stay with us. We got more coming your way right here on MRN's The Straight Line.
Save on your next oil change with 5 quarts of Valvoline Max Life Motor Oil and a MicroGuard filter on sale now for the same price of Valvoline Conventional at $26.99. Extend the life of your vehicle and improve engine performance with Valvoline at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com, that's blue like the color blue. BlueChew.com brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know that they work. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they're chewable, they can work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package, so no in-person doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when using our special promo code RACING. Just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUEChew.com, promo code RACING to try it free. Blue Chew, it's the better, cheaper, faster choice.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Ralph Sheheen and Doug Herbert.
Welcome back into the Straight Line Studios, as we want to thank our guests Tanner Gray and Matt Smith for joining us today on the Racing Electronics Hotline.
Racing Electronics provides all of the racing electronics that you'll need at the racetrack. Popular fan vision, also at the drag races. They can get you into basically into the driver's cockpit with some of the racers. So be sure and check out Racing Electronics. They're also a big supporter of brakes. We appreciate all the guys at Racing Electronics.
No doubt about it. Well, time for our red light, green light. Now, last week we did the green light with our lady friend there that set the 183 mile an hour bicycle. Today, we've got to go red light, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. And, of course, this is where we're going to talk some more about Robert Hight. If you have not seen the video, it's spectacular, Doug.
Well, it's unbelievable is what it is. To see that body get launched, if you're online, you can see the video right now. Robert Hight's body not only went off the car, but, the front of the body you can see still stayed hooked to the car, and Robert kind of skids to a stop, rubbing up against the wall. I would think that the hitting the wall probably is not what hurt him. It's probably more the explosion that hurt him. But man, the main section of the body actually flew, several hundred feet up in the air. I don't know what they're going to be able to do about that.
There are still photos where you can see the body as high as the scoring tower at the far end. And watch this shot by a fan. Look at that.
It hit the fan vision and landed over towards the end of the track. That was really lucky there wasn't a bunch of spectators there. That could have been potentially a pretty dangerous thing.
How tough is it for a driver? I know racers are racers, but how tough is it for the driver, Robert, now next to have the weekend off and get back in the cockpit and do that again? Because that was the final round. Well, you know what? It sounds like Robert missed going to victory lane because he had to be transported to the hospital for evaluation. So that's definitely not good. I mean, he got the win. He got the race win. I think that probably calms things down. Robert came out of the car. Obviously, he had his bell rung. He had some concussion from that fire, probably a little bit of something from hitting the wall, brushing down against the wall. But I think he probably had no idea that it was as bad as it was when he got out of the car. And then when he found out that the car body got launched over the grandstands, I'm sure there's a little bit of concern, not only from Robert, but probably from Force and the crew chiefs and everybody else thinking, oh boy, we can't have that happen. Yeah, and this, as we've said, is not going to be a quick fix. This is something NHRA has been looking at for a while and will continue to do so. And it's interesting, too, is that we saw the front half of the body stayed on the car, the back half went away. Yeah, all those tethers and all the recent advancements that they made to help keep the bodies on the car, it worked for the front of the car, but then, it kind of split there about where the injector scoop comes through the body, and the air gets underneath that and poof, takes off like a wing. And a lightweight piece, but still 150, 175 pounds? Yeah, I'm sure that piece that went flying over the grandstands had to be well over 100 pounds. So that would, that's not something you're just going to reach up in the air and grab out of the sky like a beach ball or something. This is
That's not the case there.
Yeah. Well, we're glad Robert's okay.
Yep.
He got the win there. We thank you for tuning in and joining us. Doug Herbert, I'm Ralph Sheheen. Thanks for joining us here this week on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. We'll see you soon.